We had a look at the index method in the previous video, and in this video we're going to have a look at the Python string slicing method. With indexing, you are able to access an element in a sequence using its position in the sequence, in other words, its index. So you are able to find out what position a particular character starts at, for example. However, with using the slice method, you can extract parts of a string. So maybe you want to extract some information from a string, like the email domain example we looked at in my last video. Although that was a video on the index method, we did have a look at how to extract the domain from an email, which is actually the slicing method. But it could be anything. It could be telephone numbers, names, IDs, car registration plates, order numbers, or any other keyword from a string. The slice method returns the extracted part in a new string and does not change the original string. And here is the syntax. Start indicates the position where the slice begins. Default is 0, so it includes the very first character. End indicates the position where the slice stops, and step indicates the interval between the characters to include in the slice. Default is 1, so every character is included, but you can include every second character, for example, by specifying this as a 2. By the way, slightly going off topic, here is the difference between the slice method and the indexing method. We can see the features on the left hand side: purpose, syntax, return, flexibility and errors. So for purpose, the slice method extracts a range of characters where the indexing method accesses a single character. And we can then see the syntax and what they return. So a slice returns a substring, and the index can return a single character, or the position of a single character. In terms of flexibility, slice can skip characters, reverse or extract chunks, and the indexing only retrieves a specific position. And in terms of errors, you can specify out of range slicing, which is safe, which returns an empty string. But for the indexing method, out of range indexing raises an index error. Here are some examples, and the first example is extracting the first 3 characters, and a use case for doing this is if you are processing names, codes or words and need the first few characters, for example initials or a prefix. So we can see the word equals hello. On the second line we store this in another variable called first_3, and this equals the variable word from the first line. Now we have the slice method. We can see :3. So with the :3, this slice starts at index 0, the beginning of the string, and ends before the index 3. Because Python slicing is exclusive of the ending index, so it includes 0, 1 and 2. And because it's :3, we are not looking at the start of the index, we're looking at the end of the index. Because if we wanted to indicate something at the start of the index, excluding 0, we would specify this before the colon. So that's why it starts at 0, because 0 is default, :3. The next example is getting the last 2 characters, so obtaining the last 2 characters. And this is useful for checking file extensions, for example .py or .txt or any other suffixes. So we can see in the blue the code, we have word equals Python, and we want to retrieve the last 2 characters. So slice from the second to last characters to the end, and we can do this with a -2 : because the -2 index will start counting 2 characters from the end. So n will be a -1 and then o will be a -2. And then we specify a colon. And if you can see, we have nothing after the colon, and having nothing without an end index means continue to the end of the string. So start from -2 and o and continue to the end of the string. So it's o and n. And by the way, we can see the output. So the first one is print first_3. So we are printing the output of this middle line, and the first 3 characters of hello is hell. And the next one was slice from the second to last character to the end. So the word was Python, and it printed out the last 2 characters, O and N. The next example is removing the first character. So a use case for this is you might want to strip a leading character, like a £sign in £100. And then we are going to store this inside a variable called without_first. And then we are going to slice the string inside the variable word, which is example. And we're going to start from position 1. So because it starts from position 0, the E will be excluded. So slice from the second character index 1 to the end, because there is nothing after the colon. And we can see when we print without_first, the output is example without the E. The next one is extracting a middle portion. So use case for this can help extract specific sections of a string, like a substring from a text. So the example we have is word equals programming, and here we're using two positions, so 3 and 7, which slices from index 3 up to, but not including index 7. So it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, and we can see the output here, gram. So it does start with 3, and then it's 4, 5, 6, and we do not include 7, so up until 7, so it would be 6. So this is why it extracts the substring gram. The next one is extracting the entire string. So you may want to do this if you need to copy the full string without any modification for safe use in transformations. And we are slicing from the start to the end by not including anything before and after the colon, and the output, so this is the full word slice. The next one is skipping every other character. So we could do this. It's useful for creating patterns or extracting alternating characters. For example, a sequence of letters. So we have the word A, B, C, D, E, F. And here we are using a double colon because we're not doing anything with the first two, the start and the end. If you recall the syntax, we could use something called step. And we have indicated 2 in here, which is the interval between characters to include in the slice. So this is saying slice from the start, skipping every second character. And that's why we get the output of ace. So it's included A, it starts from the beginning. We've not indicated where we are starting from, so the default is 0. There's no end as well. We've not indicated anything at the end, so it goes on right until the end of the string. And then it's skipping every character. So A, C and E. And that's why the output is ace. We can also reverse a string, so reversing text is common in palindrome checks or for specific formats in text processing. So we've got the word equals backward, and if we indicate the step is a -1, this will slice the string from the end to the start because we have not indicated anything in the first two colons, but the step being a -1 would reverse the word. So we've got the word backward, and the output is backward in reverse. So those are the examples. I've done a quick PyCharm live demo where we go through a few very simplistic examples. And the first thing we will do is create a variable called myString. So my_string equals, this is Java string 12345 exclamation mark. Enter, print my_string, and then using the square brackets, let's find the third index in my string. So this would be 0, 1, 2, 3. So this should return the S. Let's run that. And we can see it's returned the character S. We can also see it says indexing over here, performing indexing tasks. We can also start from the last character and work backwards as well. And as 0 is the first character, -1 is the last character. So the exclamation mark is -1. -2, -3, -4, etc. Let's go with -3 and it should give us a 4. And that's returned a 4. And if we wanted to print out more characters, let's say this is, we can do that as well. So that would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we need to do it for 7, which is the blank space after the S, and not 6. And this is because it prints out everything up until 7, but not 7 itself. If we went for 6, it would not include the S. So we need to include the 7. And the way we do that is 0 for the start of the string, 2 dots, and then 7. And let's run this. And it's printed out this is part of my string here. And what else we can do is start it from a certain starting point by removing a value. So if we remove the 7, let's go with the 3 for the first value, and let's run that. So we can see it's ignored 0, 1, 2, and it started from the S, and it's got the remaining string printed out. And we can do it the opposite way as well. Let's type in 9 on this side. After the colon, let's run that. So we can see it's counted 8 strings from the start. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because it does not use the 9. So it's anything before the 9. Anything before the number you specify. And for the last example, let's have a look at how it works with lists. So I've already copied one. Let's paste it in. Let's call it my list. Let's call it my list here as well. And just going a little bit off topic, PyCharm is really good because it gives you suggestions. For example, it's telling me I've got a white space between print and my list. I always do that. But to follow best practice, it's to remove the space. Now if we leave the values the same in here, it's going to print out up until 0.9. So that would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it doesn't include 9, so it should include 1, 2, 3 and the comma as well. So let's run that. And there we go. It's printed out my list up until the point of 3 and the comma as well.